Hello, and welcome to today's astrology study group. And I have, I think, a treat. We're going to continue to go through our study of Venus. But what we're going to do today, we talked about last time assessing it, looking, is it in the top of your chart? Is it in the bottom? Is it in the left or the right? Is it before the sun, after the sun? Is it retrograde? Looking at it that way. What's its element? What is its polarity? What's its quality? Now that we know that, we have a little bit more sense of what we're looking at. Now we'll go to the cookbooks. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to read from 6 different books. I'm going to start with this one. This is a new one by Dusty White. Easiest way to learn astrology ever, a revolutionary way to actually learn astrology and stop relying on astrology books for answers. But what I want to do is just let you hear different viewpoints that will say the same thing more or less in different ways, but some perspectives will say something more one way or more another. I thought it was pretty interesting. It was just going through all those different viewpoints to hear different version of the same thing. It's like a taste test. You're one of the taste judge, at a chocolate cake conference. You get all these different types of chocolate cake, right? So that's kind of how it is. Okay, so this is one book, and then we're gonna go to one of the early ones. I started with a very fresh one, Dusty White's book, which is excellent, by the way. They're all excellent in their own way, but his is really special. He's just consolidated a lot of stuff. But this one by Marion March and Joan McEvers, they had some of the original books on astrology, volume 1, volume 2, that were easy enough to go through. And I thought they did a really, really good job all the way through all their books. But anyway, I'm going to read from this one. And this is the volume 1. And then we'll look at one called Astro Essentials by Maritha Pottenger. We'll look at her book, Astro Essentials, Planets in Signs, Houses, and Aspects. So she kind of just dove into that totally in this book. Some of the other books you'll get, they're huge. The author will touch on a lot of things, and then they'll give you smaller amounts of that. So we have a different points of view with all that. Then the next one we'll look at is called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need by Joanna Martime. I don't know how you say her name. Woolfolk. Sounds good. Woolfolk. Feels like a fun name to say. Another good one. There's some really good perspectives in here. Then the last two are kind of classics. One from Llewellyn George, The New A to Z Horoscope Maker and Delineator. Llewellyn George and George Llewellyn. Don't ask me, I don't know. Okay, that's just how they have it listed. But then this is another good little source. And then the last one will be the classic Astrologer's Handbook by Francis Sakoyan and Louise Acker. So I'm going to read them in that order. These are the books. They've been properly introduced. They're all really, really good reference books for you. And let me get back over to a new share now. Okay, so we're going to go and see a PowerPoint. Hopefully you can see this. See my PowerPoint, and let's go, let's see, from current slide. This should get the whole thing. Bear with me one second. Okay, very good. Just give you something to look at. Nothing spectacular. You don't have to look at the screen. This can be totally listened to, but I just wanted to give you something to look at over here. So we're going through Venus and the signs. And we will start with, again, Dusty White's book. And we're going to do, he gives us a real short synopsis, and then we'll get into more lengthy versions as we go on. So sit back, relax, get your favorite drink, whatever. And here we go. All right, Venus and Aries. Hopefully, can I get this to go? Come on, baby. Oh, you know it. Why isn't this going forward? There we go. Yay. Okay. All right. Venus and Aries. Initiatory. Instigative. likes making the first move, socially direct, dislikes gossip and game playing. Yeah, that's too much work. It's like, nope. Socially aggressive, tends to be alpha, pushing others around, flirtatious, but loses interest easily. So hopefully we'll get like trenched in the Aries flavor, right? We're going to just get trenched in this Aries, right here with Venus. So we'll just get that. Okay, moving to March and McEvers' book. You are a magnetic and idea person and fast thinker. Okay, Venus and Aries. It's also its detriment in Aries too. I'll read that as well. Restless, ardent, and instigating. You may be overwhelming, and your aggression may even drive others away. Because you are outgoing and enthusiastic, you excel in social situations. Your outlook is cheerful and positive. You package yourself well, and you can be creative and artistic. With difficult aspects, you may be fickle, may dash into an early or hasty marriage, or you may even lack manners, of all things. But that's important. It's just funny. When I was going through all these, the bent of the author and the time was very funny. And I'm sure they'll poke out right when I read them. All right. This was Maritha's book, Maritha Pottenger. I'm not going to tell you on everyone, but just the first way through so you get a sense of the author. Okay. Venus in Aries. You are likely to enjoy activity and doing things once, but repetition may bore you. You can be assertive in relating to people and probably appreciate courage. Your desire nature is emphasized. Sensuality comes naturally to you. Your handling of money and possessions tend to be direct, forceful, or impulsive. Freedom and novelty are important to you in your love relationships. You enjoy beginning relationships and may prefer the early states to the later ones. You probably express affection impulsively, directly, and honestly, and prefer an enthusiastic, energetic response from others. You like independence, initiative, and action in yourself and others. Oh, by the way, all right. This is the only astrology book you'll ever need by Joanna Martime Woolfolk. I don't know why I've had trouble with that name. Venus and Aries. Disposition of Venus gives a responsive and impulsive love nature. You are the kind of person who falls in love at first sight and never thinks once before following the dictates of your heart. You're strongly sensual and feel at your most complete when you are emotionally involved with someone. See that? Oh, okay. Anyway, physical appearance is what first attracts you, but to sustain a love affair, you must also find mental compatibility. You are turned off by a sloppy appearance or loud, vulgar behavior. As a Venus Arian, you attract friends because of your demonstrative and enthusiastic attitude. You like to bring unexpected gifts to those you love. People with Venus and Aries are a curious mixture of sentimentality and aggressiveness. Sentimentality Venus, aggressive Aries, right? Your emotions are easily touched, but you are also demanding and somewhat selfish. Others could not expect you to settle down into calm domestic peace. You are too restless and flirtatious, too enamored of amour. Amore. All right, let's move to Llewellyn. George Llewellyn George. Venus in Aries is the detriment, which we mentioned. Fondness for travel, music, painting, sculpture, decorative art, singing, poetry, romance, theaters, entertainment, and all genteel, muscular, and mental recreation. The nature is ardent, affectionate, demonstrative, generous in the bestowal of affection, fond of love and admiration, warm-hearted, passionate, and attracted to friends of the opposite sex. This is, I'll read the date when I'm done with this one. This location of Venus inclines to popularity, many friends, and if other testimonies in the chart warrant, an early or hasty marriage. Second time somebody said that. However, there are usually many inharmonious inharmonies in the marital relation for that to happen. The disposition is charitable, and the feeling and sympathies quickly responds to appeals for worthy assistance, free and generous in gifts and expenditures. Let's see, in this book, it was 1990, first edition, 1910. Wow. Willie and George. Huh. Okay, there you have it. So you'll hear some of the language is different, in some of these older texts. Okay, now the handbook, the astrologer's handbook. And Venus in Aries. Get them all open here. Venus rules the principle of love and reaching out to others. Venus in Aries indicates those who tend to be aggressive in their emotional self-expression. Their outgoing nature lends enthusiasm and sparkle to social gatherings. They have no reticence in pursuing the object of their interests, and they can be competitive when seeking the affections of others. Okay, here we go. In a female horoscope, like not a man, but anyway, this quality may make for an aggressive approach in which the woman chases the man. The ability of these people to be passionate in love and romance results from Mars, the ruler of Aries, which gives energy to the affections of Venus. These affections can be impulsive and unstable, however. Venus in Aries is in its detriment because Aries is the opposite sign to Libra, which Venus rules. For this reason, people with Venus in Aries demand a lot of personal attention and tend to be self-centered. All right. Good, huh? I think so. I think you get a good dipping of that, a good steeping of that. All right, Venus in Taurus. We'll start over. Venus in Taurus, extremely sensual, graceful, earthy charm, good friend, reserved socially, dislikes confrontation, and boorish people. Refuses to make the first move, wants to be prized and valued. Hedonistic, slothful, hoarder, or collector. Venus in Taurus. Faithful and stable. Your sense of touch is highly developed. You love luxury and plush surroundings. Oh, it's dignity as well. And you have an innate sense of the value of material objects. Although you are sensual, you express your sensuality passively. You let things come to you. With your charm, good looks, and probably good voice, the opposite sex is bound to seek you out. You have a close rapport with nature, flowers, and gardening. You can also do well in any of the artistic fields. Conventional and sociable, your emotions are deep. When you feel insecure, you become jealous and possessive. With difficult aspects, you may be too stubborn, or you may marry late in life. Since you love good food, you could have a weight problem. No punches pulled there. Next one, Venus and Taurus. You're likely to enjoy physical gratifications, food, drink, possessions, finances, sensual indulgences. You can deeply enjoy sensations, appreciate nature, and favor the five senses, especially touch. You are probably relaxed and easygoing in relating to people and appreciate loyalty and stability. It's a fixed sign, remember. You express affection physically, steadily, and are sometimes possessive. Your drive for pleasure is strong and might lead to excessive self-indulgence. Your handling of money and possessions is apt to be sensible, but you may overvalue comfort, luxury, and or attractive physical objects. You want comfort in your love relationships and respond to sensual energy from others. Your appreciation of beauty and artistic talents can lead to personal satisfaction and success. Venus in Taurus. As a Venusian in Taurus person, you are affectionate and romantic, but you don't give your love away too quickly. A bad love affair is hard on you emotionally, so you take your time deciding on the right person to love. This process, however, is done by feeling rather than thinking logically. Yours is a very physical and earthy love nature. To you, love does not exist without sex. You are very demonstrative and generous toward a lover, sometimes too much so. Your passion can be smothering. You have an all-consuming need to make a lover belong to you. Remember that when we get to its opposite in Scorpio. Okay. You're with friends, you are willing and ready to help, but you are as curious about forming instant friendships as you are as cautious about forming instant friendships as about love. This position of Venus brings money luck, sometimes through inheritance or marriage. Venus and Taurus people have a keen artistic eye and are interested in music. You also love to eat and have to fight over weight. Venus and Taurus. This location of Venus endows the native with deep feelings and lasting emotions, an affectionate and faithful love nature, precise, careful, and correct with regard to form and custom in connection with pleasure, sociability, and friendship, fixed and stable in feelings, decided and tenacious in opinions, fond of money for the pleasure and comfort it brings, and generous with it in that respect. Venus in Taurus is generally favorable for money and possessions gained by the native's personal efforts in business or profession and by the occupation of Venus. If other testimonies in the chart warrant, it assists to gain by legacy, partnership, or marriage. The location inclines to marriage, but it is sometimes delayed. And the last one. Venus in the sign of Taurus gives constant, lasting affections. Emotional security and stability in love are important for the natives. They are loyal and steadfast, although they can be possessive and jealous if their emotional security is threatened. Their sense of touch is highly developed and they enjoy physical contact with their loved ones, but they are sensual in a passive way, seeking to attract rather than pursue the love object. Venus in Taurus gives a love of comfort, luxury, beautiful surroundings, good food, and opulence in general. Therefore, the money that makes such things possible is important to these people. Because the moon, which rules the domestic scene, is exalted in Taurus, they seek to make their homes beautiful and artistic. Personal beauty is important to them too, and they seek to make themselves as attractive and youthful as possible. Here we go, here's a funny statement. Even hippies with this Venus position will wear beautiful jewelry or an expensive piece of clothing. Let's see, in this book, what was it? This one was written, I gotta look real quick. Even hippies, 1973. Okay. Oh, goodness. Even hippies with a Venus position will wear beautiful jewelry and or expensive piece of clothing. One piece. With this position of Venus, there's an innate sense of the value of material objects and an ability to make purchases of beauty and long-lasting quality. Because these people tend to like material things, they may engage in business dealings with art and luxury goods. They can be attracted to artistic expressions in which they can directly mold the materials. Painters and sculptors often have Venus placed in this sign. Natives feel a close kinship with the earth and gain pleasure and solace from flowers, trees, and other plants. They may take up gardening or growing flowers as a hobby. As Taurus rules the throat and larynx, and Venus confers grace and beauty, many people with Venus and Taurus have a rich, melodious voice. Talented singers are likely to have this placement of Venus. All right. Next one. Venus in Gemini. Intellectually flirtatious. Likes kissing, but does not equate that to serious interest. Fun, friendly, conversationalist. Fun at parties. Superficial, chatty, flirtatious, even when in relationships. Fickle. All right, Venus in Gemini. You are generous, friendly, and detached. You need a lot of freedom. You like your partner to be intellectual. and if possible, to have a good sense of humor. You enjoy roaming the world and are literate, even poetic. You lack permanence in most of your involvements, and you may have more than one marriage. Your values in romantic matters can be quite superficial, even if you lack fixed planets in the rest of your chart. If you have pleasing manners, good relations with siblings and neighbors, and a great sense of family, your emotions are on a more mental than feeling level, and you thrive on change and variety. Your nature is curious, and you want to taste much of what life has to offer. You want to sample from the smorgasbord of life. I said that, but probably somebody else did, I'm remembering. Okay, Venus in Gemini. You are likely to enjoy mental stimulation and learning. You can be lighthearted and casual in relating to people, and probably appreciate good ideas. You express affection playfully, youthfully, verbally, lightheartedly. You might feel closeness through talking and sharing perceptions. Your handling of money and possessions is likely to be objective and logical. You want good communication and intellectual give and take in your love relationships. Flirting or engaging in superficial relationships may occur due to a desire for variety and new stimulation, or a desire to keep things cool, to avoid too much emotional intensity. You're attracted to intelligence and quick wit. If you have Venus in Gemini, you must have an intellectual rapport with someone before your affections begin to blossom. I like the way she said that. That was good. Basically, you have a lighthearted attitude towards love. Intense, heavy emotional commitments are like an anchor around your neck. You have such a wide range of interests. Travel, literature, music, seeing new places, meeting new people, that a lover just can't be the single focus of your life. This leads to a certain coolness to your emotions. Your inconsistency sometimes causes you difficulties in love or marriage, but you bounce back quickly. Not even a frustrated lover can be angry at you very long. You are too charming, witty, and funny. You enjoy being with people and have lots of friends, and often more than one lover. Venus exerts its most flirtatious influence in Gemini. This position of Venus also stimulates a careless and free hand for spending money. Money, 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 money. The native may find pleasure and profit from travel and mercurial pursuits, right, Gemini? Money is gained from more than one source, several occupations. If Mercury is in good aspect or the education complete, such much can be accomplished through writing, speaking, music, art, and drama. This location of Venus tends to refine the feelings and intellect, giving clear ideas, intuition, originality, inventive ability, good humor, friendliness, sociability, and keen appreciation for all light, airy mental recreations. Dual love affairs, inconsistency, or tendency to flirt, likelihood of several love affairs. Oh, they said it again. One with a relative. Ew, what? Many loving friends. Venus in Gemini inclines to marriage. And if other testimonies in the chart permit more than one union. But I said that 3 different times in that sentence, that paragraph. Yeah, that's it. That one. Oh, if unafflicted, much goodwill between brethren, cousins, and neighbors, spiritual tendencies of a progressive or mystical nature. Righty then. Last one here. Venus in the sign Gemini indicates people who like variety in their romantic and social lives. The desire for varied experience, coupled with curiosity about people, make them disinclined to settle down to one permanent romantic relationship. Like Venus in Aquarius, another air sign, this position makes them want to be friends with everyone, but they are nevertheless capable of sustained devotion. Because of their wit and conversational ability, they are attracted to people with agile minds and keen intellects. This is a Venus that needs to be given adequate freedom. People with this Venus position spend much time traveling in pursuit of pleasure and social activity. Literary activities, especially poetry and jokes, are favored artistic expression, usually including some form of play on words. As with other air signs, there is a tendency to dislike coarse behavior. The natives have a pleasing manner and maintain generally good relations with brothers, sisters, and neighbors. If Venus is afflicted in the sign, there's inconsistency and fickleness in romance. Values concerning love, marriage, and romance may be superficial. See, they're doing the brother sister stuff because of Gemini, which kind of naturally relates to the third house. In case you didn't catch that. All right, on to the next one in Cancer. Venus in Cancer. Cuddly, loves to hug, even strangers. Best friends, once you know them. Deeply romantic, affectionate, loves to snuggle. Tribal, cliquish, dislikes being in crowds or unfamiliar places. Unhappy when not surrounded by loved ones or comforts. Venus in Cancer. Idealistic and poetic. You enjoy the nice things in life. You may be self-indulgent, but you are rarely wasteful. Your feelings are sensitive and you're easily hurt, but try to hide this by keeping busy or pretending not to care. It's funny when you think of people that have that. You enjoy your home and taking care of it. If you don't have a home to take care of, you nurture the whole world. Financial and domestic security is very important to you. You are gentle, sympathetic, ingratiating, and exude a quiet charm. With Venus in this position, your reactions are instinctive and emotional. In a partnership, you may be more of a mother than a mate. You like your partners to be very demonstrative. With difficult aspects, the tendency to sentimentality becomes overemphasized. You might cling to your loved ones, or your parents may object to your chosen mate. Clingy, or parents don't like them or her. All right, you are likely to enjoy home, food, nurturing, and or dependency. You can be sensitive and protective in your relating to people and appreciate emotional warmth and attachments. You tend to express affection protectively, tenaciously, nurturingly, and kindly. You find pleasure in security. Your comfort level may depend on feeling like part of a family. You prefer to share within a very closely attached clannish group. If you lack faith, moodiness, timidity, overprotection of self or others, or stinginess may inhibit your potential for closeness and ability to enjoy life. That was a long sentence. Your handling of money and possessions is probably cautious. You want to nurture or be nurtured in your love relationships. Closeness for you involves dependency, caretaking, and receptivity. As a Venus in Cancer person, you are romantic and sensitive. Being loved is more important to you than almost anything else. Though you often conceal this need under a shell of reserve, you are not, however, so blindly romantic that you don't carefully consider future security. For example, if you're a man, you may not propose marriage until you have some reliable means of earning a living. Or if you're a woman, you make sure you won't end up sharing your lover's poverty or struggling to support him. In a love affair, you would much rather be pursued than do the pursuing. You need the reassurance that someone wants you enough to go after you. Once you feel secure, you are demonstrative and sensual. You have a wonderful gift for eloquence, and you are also intensely sentimental. You will make a big fuss over your lover's birthday and remember the anniversary of the day you two first met. This position of Venus indicates a strong family loyalty. Venus Cancerians are delightfully content to be at home and often love to cook. This location gives love of home, domestic attraction, strong affection for the mother, I guess because of the Cancer part. The nature is sympathetic, kind, loving, receptive, imaginative, and quickly responds to the emotions. Several love affairs, secret attractions, union with one of occult tendencies, or with considerable difference in age. Venus in Cancer is not wholly fortunate for marriage, as it indicates obstacles either on account of parents, money, or occupation, unforeseen difficulties. Friendships among inferiors, and connection with some obscure, unpopular, or plebeian occupation. Ability in occult arts, psychic research, and in matters connected with the unseen world. Love for mystical religion. Gain by matters associated with water, refreshments. Also gain through houses, land, or parents. Mediumistic gifts. And the last one. Venus in the sign of Cancer indicates people who are deeply sensitive in their romantic feelings. Their extreme sensitivity means their feelings can be easily hurt, but they hide this vulnerability behind a dignified exterior. Since their moods can be fluctuating and unpredictable, they value both financial and domestic security. They seek marriage as means to a stable domestic life, cherishing their families and their own homes. They want demonstrative affection because it makes them feel secure and loved. They seek to make their homes places of comfort and beauty and the focus of social activities. If unmarried, they often prefer staying home with a date for dinner to going out to public places of entertainment. Women, remember this old book here now, women with this Venus position are very domestic. They like to cook and keep house for those they love. They have a delicate femininity, which is eventually expressed in a maternal way. Because Cancer is the maternal sign, they are affectionate toward their children. Men with this position can mother their families and children. Because Cancer is a cardinal sign, these people at times take the initiative when they feel bored and lonely, though they will try to do so unobtrusively. If Venus is afflicted in Cancer, there tends to be maudlin sentimentality, unstable emotional reactions, and a tendency to sulk. All right. Venus in Leo. Dun, da, da, da. Love of romance and grand displays of affection. Endlessly flirtatious, but mostly loyal in relationships. Romantically adventurous. Needs to feel special at all times. Can be insecure when confronted by rivals for affection, and bossy. All right. You are ardent and romantic. You can be theatrical in your behavior. You love life and love. You can be a social climber who enjoys throwing lavish parties and adores elegant people. You have great pride and love to be noticed and to be the center of attention. Clothes and appearance are important to you, as well as children, and you like dramatic and exciting courtships. You have a great need for applause. If you do not get it at home, you'll seek it outside. Your good sense of color gives you artistic ability. The fields of acting, writing, and music appeal to you. You're warm, affectionate, and loyal to those you deem worthy. With challenging aspects, you can be jealous, snobbish, indiscriminate, and over-concerned with sex. Venus in Leo, likely to enjoy the limelight, attention, admiration, and applause. Sometimes you might be too ego-centered or driven to dominate in relationships. You may have natural magnetism. Others often find you exciting. You tend to express affection dramatically and wholeheartedly. You can be quite generous, loyal, playful, and magnetic when in love. And you have sex appeal. Your handling of money and possessions is apt to be generous, extravagant, and speculative. You want zest, enthusiasm, and an adrenal rush in your love of relationships. Your pride and urge for recognition affect your capacity for closeness. Venus in Leo. Without doing anything, Venus Leos are able to attract warm feelings on part of others. There is something so magnetic, so irresistibly likable about you that you enjoy great popularity. You are extravagantly affectionate and generous, buying expensive gifts for those you love and praising them to the skies in front of other people. Of course, what you must have back is intense devotion, loyalty, and lots of attention. You must always be dominant in a love affair. All the world's a stage was written about your emotional nature. No one can make a scene or confrontation as dramatic as a Venus Leo. Needless to say, you are drawn to the world of theater. Many of you are blessed with superb creative gifts. You also love fine possessions, money, clothes, jewels, and furs. This is what I was saying. Sometimes these books is like furs. Okay. I would update that, but you know. Anyway, though self-indulgent and pleasure-seeking, you are capable of making a great sacrifice for the happiness of someone else. All right, Llewellyn. The nature is sympathetic, charitable, kind-hearted, free and generous, earnest, sincere, and ardent in affection. The native is attracted to the opposite sex, fond of social display, pleasure, friends, entertainment, and amusements of all sorts. There may be real talent for something signified by Venus, like music, poetry, singing, acting, art, etc. Gained through young people, superiors, those of good position and social standing. If other testimonies in the chart warrant, the native will gain by judicious investment, speculation, inheritance, and by occupations connected with pleasure. Our last Venus in Leo. Venus in the sign Leo indicates those who have ardent, fixed affections. They are lovers of life and somewhat theatrical in behavior. They can have a great deal of social and personal pride, especially when in the spotlight. These are the people who throw lavish, expensive parties. Women with this position wish to be noticed by others, to be admired and appreciated. Sometimes they are prima donnas. Often they compete for the center of attention at social gatherings. Because of their ability to dramatize emotion, people with this position of Venus make good actors and actresses. They have a keen love of art, with a vivid color sense and ability in painting, sculpture, and other artistic forms. These natives are warm-hearted, outgoing, sunny, and affectionate. They are fond of children. They are born romantics and like courtships, full of drama and excitement. They will be strongly loyal to those they deem worthy of their affections. The person with Venus in this position likes to show off his partner, but he can be possessive and jealous if the partner does not pay him the proper homage. If Venus is afflicted in Leo, there can be excessive social pride, snobbishness, selfishness, and over-concern with sex. All right, last one over here. The nature is sympathetic, charitable, kind-hearted, free, and generous, earnest, sincere, and ardent in affection. The native is attracted to the opposite sex, fond of social display, pleasure, friends, entertainment, and amusements of all sorts. There may be real talent for something dignified, where's that? It's hard to read there. Signified by Venus, music, poetry, singing, acting, art, etc. Gained through young people, superiors, or those of good position and social standing. If other testimonies in the chart warrant, the native will gain by judicious investment, speculation, inheritance, and by occupations connected with pleasure. Interesting, you can hear some of the actual repeated words and stuff there, like all going back to these latest books that I have here. Anyway, it's drilling it in for us. It's drilling it in. All right, Venus in Virgo. Fastidious, clean, tidy, practical in friendships and relationships, helpful, kind, quiet, conservative. Timid, naggy, very high standards to please, difficulty relaxing and letting go of social imperfections. Venus in Virgo is in its fall also. You are neat, even clinical in your appearance, personal appearance and approach. You tend to analyze everything you do, and you may take every emotion apart until you have destroyed any natural or spontaneous feeling. With Venus in Virgo, you may marry late or stay single. Okay. Yet you have very good relations with your friends and coworkers. It is difficult for you to give of yourself emotionally. You'd rather share work interests or intellectual pursuits with others. Soft-spoken, undemonstrative, boy, where everybody uses that word a lot, right? Demonstrative, but this is and shy, you have sympathy for the underdog. You can be a good nurse or doctor. You are very interested in health or hygiene. With difficult aspects, this position can reverse itself. Instead of shying away from love, you may pursue sex as an obsession. Instead of being neat and clean, you may be slovenly and crude. Instead of being hardworking, you may be the lazy and secretive. Isn't that interesting? That one opposite all of a sudden, if it's in a bad position. Venus and Virgo, you're likely to enjoy competence, precision, and doing things right. You can be exacting, discriminating, and critical when relating to people. You tend to express affection pragmatically, doing things for people, serving them, modestly or timidly. Criticism, feeling indispensable or too much rationality could inhibit passionate response. You find pleasure in functioning efficiently and in being helpful or repairing things, situations, or people. You tend to enjoy analysis, precision, and organizing details. You probably feel more comfortable with logic and common sense. Your handling of money and possessions can be quite practical and thrifty. You want common sense and a willingness to work in your love relationships. Interesting. If you have Venus in Virgo, you tend to be cautious about falling in love. You sometimes avoid involvement by taking small defects in a person and blowing them out of proportion as major character flaws. That's funny. You hold yourself on a tight rein because you fear that your feelings will be exploited by someone unworthy. What you want in a love relationship is someone who will regard you as special. Curiously, however, when you do give your heart away, it's often to the wrong person who will not appreciate your fine qualities. For some reason, this position of Venus tends to promote scandal. Venus Virgos may have many virtues. You are refined and intelligent, loyal and sympathetic. Often you are an imaginative writer and teacher. You have an excellent business sense and a quiet but witty sense of humor. Many of our brilliant leaders and humanitarians are Venus Virgos who give their love to the world at large rather to one person. Said brilliant government leaders. Okay, Llewellyn writes a lot on this one. He must have been Venus and Virgo, or maybe someone in his family. Venus in the sign Virgo is in its fall, since Virgo is opposite the sign of Pisces, in which Venus is exalted. People with this position tend to overanalyze emotions and be too critical for those they love, making others feel self-conscious and inhibited, and cutting off the spontaneous flow of affection. This analytic trait can stand in the way of a direct, intuitive response to beauty. These people try to understand the beauty of a rose, for example, by dissecting it petal by petal, not realizing that the rose is beautiful because of the totality of its parts. People with Venus and Virgo frequently seek partners with whom they can share their work and intellectual interests. But this Venus position is likely to produce more unmarried people than any other Venus sign position because of the natives' highly critical standards for what they want in a mate. When they do marry, it's often through connections with work. Unless Venus is heavily afflicted, they are congenial relationships with coworkers in general. The place of work is often made artistically pleasing by a personal contribution to the working environment. These people are extremely fastidious about manners, personal appearance, and hygiene. They are repelled by uncouthness in any form. They have an innate sense of beauty, of order, and cleanliness, and hence make good cooks and dietitians. They can have an ability in clothes design and dressmaking. Fashion designers often have Venus in this position. In art, they can have good technical abilities, but may lack inspiration and flow. The extreme social propriety of these people is often a cover-up for shyness and feeling of social and sexual inferiority. Their cold exterior, especially on the part of women with this position, often stands in the way of the development of romantic relationships. A feeling of loneliness and frustration may result. In this event, there is likely to be a retreat into work and intellectual pursuits and the lavishing of affections on some animal. Such confinement can in turn prevent the formation of social contacts that would help these people out of their shells. However, If Venus is well placed by house and well aspected, the difficulties can be overcome or greatly modified. Because Virgo is an earth sign, Venus placed here gives attraction to material comforts and personal possessions of quality and beauty, which the natives feel confer status. Often they work hard to acquire such things, sometimes using possessions and status as substitutes for personal affection. People with Venus and Virgo are capable of sympathy and are helpful to the sick. Their ability for nurturing makes them good doctors and nurses. They can also deal with psychological problems stemming from social maladjustment, for Venus in this Mercury ruled sign is able to combine reason with the emotions and investigate these matters in a methodical, analytic way. Curiously, if Venus in Virgo is afflicted by Mars, Uranus, Neptune, or Pluto, there can be an overreaction against shyness and social propriety, producing loose living, promiscuity, and bohemianism. This stems from a deep fear that only thus can the natives find love and sexual fulfillment. They feel the need to make sexual conquests in order to prove their desirability. In these cases, the unconscious Pisces polarity takes over. These reactionary types can become crude and slovenly in their appearance and mannerisms. Remember, this is the 1906 book, that one, the Llewellyn George. All right, and the last one here, Venus in Virgo has a tendency to endow the native with a quiet nature and deep sympathy seldom expressed. Nope, I'm sorry. That last one was the astrological handbook. But that was a 1906. Anyway, wasn't it? Yeah. Let me go back and look. Hold on. No. This one is. That one was what? I gotta go back. That one was 73. Was that one? I gotta go back and look. Some of these writings are just. It's very interesting. Sorry. Yeah, that one was 73. So that one is there too. Okay, back to Venus and Virgo. This one is from Llewellyn George. Sorry. Venus Virgo tendency to endow the native with a quiet nature and deep sympathy seldom expressed. Some delay and disappointment in love, secret or dual attachments, union with one of a different station, possibly an employee, invalid, or doctor. Money is gained through servants or subordinates, or by the native himself occupying such positions. Gained by matters connected with drugs, medicine, nursing, food, farming, gardening, and through vocations associated with the earthly elements. All right. Good stuff. We'll keep going. Let's take a drink of coffee real quick. All right. We are halfway. Venus in Libra. All right, we'll start out with Dusty. Venus in Libra. Excellent taste in clothing, art, and ambiance. Socially adept in almost any situation. Friendly, charming, prefers sharing and outcomes where everyone wins. Obsessed with beauty, hates ugliness and anyone, bad manners and vulgarity. Dependent in partnerships. Venus in Libra, it's dignity there, right? It's another ruler. It rules dual signs, Taurus and Libra. Okay, harmony, marriage, and all social relationships are extremely important to you. You enjoy companionship, and you like to please others. Quite fair in your judgments, you have a high standards of social behavior. You love beauty, luxury, and intellectual stimulation, and you entertain well. Discord and loud noises can make you nervous since your sense of hearing is well developed. Although you are not money oriented, you appreciate what money can buy. Your talents are many, but music, public performance, painting, and sculpture are particularly suited to your temperament. You are attracted to and attracted by the opposite sex. In fact, you are in love with love. You can be easily hurt, but you rarely carry a grudge. Gracious and appreciative, you are eternally young at heart. With difficult aspects, you may become too superficial or gushing, and you may be unable to stand up for what you believe. Venus in Libra, you are likely to enjoy art, harmony, people, You can be charming, diplomatic, and graceful in relating to people. You express affection with grace, charm, and consideration. Fairness, balance, and gentleness contribute to the subtle dance between self and other. Excessive concern for peace and tranquility could lead you to avoid unpleasantness. Not facing issues inhibits intimacy. You find pleasure in balance and in beauty aesthetics. You appreciate symmetry and may wish to harmonize polarities. Your handling of money and possessions is probably cooperative, but could be competitive. You want affection, beauty, and ease in your love relationships, and to be sure there is equal sharing between you and your partner. Hey, I made dinner, you clean up. You are in love with love. Somebody says again, who is this one? This one is Joanna Maritime, Woolfolk. See people parrot each other and say, I'm just saying, you're in love with love. However, you are much more romantic than sensual. You skate gracefully over the profundities of love. Anything coarse, crude, vulgar, or earthy repels you. To you, true love is of the spirit. This is not to say that you are sexually chaste. Indeed, you fall in love too easily and often have more than one amour going on at a time. However, a love affair with a Venus Libran must have all the right trappings and ritual. The ambiance created by champagne, intimate candlelight suppers, poetry written expressly for you, for you, and beautiful gifts quite undoes your resistance. You have to be, courted. You put great store by charming social manners. People who do not measure up are summarily dismissed, no matter what their deeper qualities may be. Venus in Libra can be cold and aloof toward anyone who presumes. This position of Venus is superb for artistic talent or flair for design and decoration. You are successful working in creative projects with a partnership or marriage. Sometimes you combine both. Venus Librans adore creature comforts and luxury and tend to be extravagant with money. Money, money, money. Libra, Venus in Libra indicates type of person to whom marriage and harmonious social relationships are of extreme importance. Venus, the ruling planet of Libra, is powerful and well placed here. Since Venus usually bestows well-proportioned features and general physical beauty, people with this position are attractive to the opposite sex and have many opportunities for marriage. These people have an innate ability to understand the feelings of others. Enjoying companionship, they seek relationships in which a harmonious and close personal bond is possible. Along with their consideration for others, they have a desire to please, which results in their being well-liked. Their sense of justice and fair play in romance and social relations is well developed. Because they dislike coarseness and uncouth behavior, they have high standards for social conduct and manners. They are romantic and affectionate, but as Libra is an intellectual air sign, they seek intellectual stimulation and companionship from close personal relationships. Sensuality by itself will not suffice. In this aspect, Venus in Libra is different from Venus in Taurus, as it is not concerned with money per se. However, natives like to be surrounded by beauty, and this usually requires money. Unlike natives with Venus and Taurus, these people seek status more through their personal relationships than through possessions. But as a rule, they are endowed with both because they try to establish meaningful relationships with mature individuals who have acquired wealth. Moreover, they're able to make money by their pleasing manners and aptitude in dealing with the public, which can be applied to business. Goes to show you, always ask, say please and thank you. The aesthetic perceptions are highly developed with Venus and Libra. These natives often have an aptitude for some form of art, especially music. Because Libra is an air sign and sound waves travel through the medium of air, they usually have a good sense of hearing, which is the basis of their musical ability. Venus in Taurus, by contrast, is more likely to relate to painting, sculpture, and other tactile arts. People with this Venus placement dislike disagreements and discord. If they are exposed to them too frequently, they become nervous, upset, and often ill. Consequently, they avoid situations of conflict. If Venus is afflicted, they may go along with others merely to avoid an argument and unpleasantness, that thus appearing to lack integrity. An afflicted Venus in Libra can lead to superficial, emotional, and social values and produce a conformist attitude and a lack of well-defined personal values. Women with this Venus position want to be cared for deeply. However, in public places, social propriety and a suave approach on the part of men with whom they are seen are important to them. There is ability in giving public performances, and these natives can take the limelight gracefully. Much public acclaim and popularity can accrue to those in performing arts. All right, and the last one. Venus in Libra, home, contributes to kindness, sympathy, pure and refined affections, and rich love nature. It conduces to marriage, friendship, sociability, popularity, a fruitful union, and talented offspring. Venus in Libra gives a love for fine arts, music, poetry, singing, painting, drama, opera, and all refined, cultured amusements and social functions. Preference for friends and associates among philosophical people and those of good social standing. Also affections for cousins and relatives. The native may earn money through things signified by Venus, and if all the testimonies will gain through marriage and partnership. All right, now. Intensely, Venus in Scorpio, intensely sexual, magnetic personality, possessiveness, can be too obsessive. Loyal friend, mysterious, needs physical closeness and small circles of friends. Possessive, openly jealous, and distrustful of potential romantic rivals. Romantic extremist, hidden. Venus in Scorpio, it's in his detriment there. Ew. Your emotions are very deep and your sexual desires are strong and passionate. You tend to be jealous and secretive and have difficulty sensing other people's feelings. You can be also be very idealistic, religious, or even mystical. Because you do everything with so much intensity, you feel desolate when your advances are rejected, and your love can easily turn to hate. Even your artistic tastes are colored by pathos and drama. Your demeanor can be mysterious, and you rarely lose your dignity. With challenging aspects, you feel very insecure, and you can become preoccupied with sex. You may be selfish and even cruel. Oh no. Venus in Scorpio, you are likely to enjoy intensity and getting to the bottom of things. You can be demanding, forceful, and unflinching in your relating to people. You may express affections passionately with consuming, obsessive feelings. You probably find pleasure in figuring out hidden motives and meanings. In order to feel closeness, you need to penetrate deeply into the relationship and make an absorbing emotional bond. Secrecy or reluctance to trust others, not wanting to let your guard down, can hinder love or social needs. Sharing the sensual, sexual, or financial world without overindulgence or denial may be a challenge. Engaging in a give and take with others can generate transformative, transmuting energy. You want loyalty and to be swept away, seduced, fascinated, and absorbed in love. Oh my God. With your Venus in Scorpio, being in love is an all-consuming experience for you. There is a profound intensity to your emotions. Your sex life is passionate and demonstrative. There we go again. And in a love affair, it is the sexual side of the relationship that is emphasized. However, you also put love on a spiritual plane. Your deep need is to possess a lover wholly, to make your partner surrender to you, body and soul. This predictably leads to stormy scenes. It is not easy for anyone to deal with such possessiveness. You are very sensitive to any rebuff. You can bristle like a porcupine. If someone does not respond to your love, you may even become vindictive. Venus Scorpios tend to become involved in lucrative marriages or business partnerships. You have a sweeping, compelling imagination, and many of you do highly original artistic work. Venus in Scorpio is in the sign of its detriment because Scorpio is the opposite sign of Taurus, which rules Venus. With this Venus position, the emotions and sexual desires are strong and passionate, jealous and secretive, and there's much pride in sex and romance. If Venus is afflicted in this sign, sensuality and preoccupation with sex are likely. Reactions in close personal relationships tend to be emotional, and desires and intense emotions may prevent the native from seeing other people's point of view. Thus, they often lack reason and delicacy. In highly developed types of people, there can be idealism and high standards in respect to close relationships and romantic and sexual involvements. These higher types will sacrifice everything for love if they feel the objects of their affections are worthy of it. These people can take their romances too personally and too seriously, lacking a light touch and a sense of humor. Like, hey, lighten up. Because much is given in emotional expression, much is also expected, an attitude that can lead to pride and an all or nothing approach to love and romance. If the person with this Venus position is jilted or disillusioned, he can become very jealous, resentful, and bitter, feeling this high trust has been betrayed. Hence, the position tends toward intense love-hate relationships. If love is abused or mistreated, it can easily turn into hate or cold indifference. Once these people sever an important relationship, it can never be reinstated on the old basis, and they will never again allow the person to affect them personally. Never. You say never? This time it's never. This is the exception. The emotional intensity of this Venus position gives a colorful personality. Artistic tastes lean towards strong, dramatic contrasts. Natives are attracted to the occult and inner mysteries with psychic sensitivity to the feelings of others. Oh, there's more. If Venus is afflicted in Scorpio, in a woman, she can be the type of femme fatale who uses her sex appeal to gain power over people and manipulate them. There's also the danger of Venus in Scorpio that the native will want to dominate and subtly control a close personal relationship, marriage, or business partnership. This intense Venus position can lead to emotional excess. However, even when heavily afflicted, these people never lose their personal pride and emotional dignity. Therefore, they act reserved, maintaining an air of mystery and intrigue about themselves until they are sure of their relationship. One more. The native is free, generous, and even lavish in expenditures. Money may be earned through watery elements, catering to the tastes, or by matters connected with the dead. And if other testimonies in the chart weren't, gained by gifts, legacy, partnerships, or marriage, but there will be some delay or trouble in connection with them. The location of Venus increases the passions and emotions and gives a love of sensation, luxury, and pleasure. Ardent in love, demonstrative in affection. It attracts to the opposite sex and brings trouble, disappointment, delay, or loss in courtship or marriage. Sorrow through disagreement or jealousy, attacks upon the honor, death of a partner, trouble or failure in social affairs, friends with mystical or occult tendencies. Also friendships with some of doubtful repute. If Venus is much afflicted, liable to death by poison or by suicide, to unhappy alliances. Wow. Llewellyn George. Ooh, he gets a little dark. Wow. That one's intense, huh? That's a little. Now we lighten up. Woo! Venus and Sagittarius. Woohoo! Likes everyone, flirtatious, friendly, funny, silly, creative, adventurous, idealistic, restless, superficial, unreliable, scattered socially, too many interests to manage, likes to argue the definition of faithful, loves everyone, not very tactful, a spendthrift. Emotionally idealistic, you are also light, humorous, sociable, and even flirty, demonstrative. God, that word, demonstrative. Friendly, sociable, outgoing. You love freedom. You have many friends and are objective in your personal relationships. You are honest and your tastes and morals are traditional. You prefer the classic approach to the ultra-modern. You enjoy the outdoors as well as sports, travel, pleasures, fun, and gambling. You like people who are philosophical or concerned with education. You may marry a foreigner. With difficult aspects, you can be too breezy, fickle, or pleasure-seeking. You may be too frank in expressing your feelings, or you might try to impose your beliefs on others. Wow. You are likely to enjoy travel, philosophy, education, or anything which broadens your horizon. You can be friendly, expansive, generous with people. You express affections generously, grandly, extravagantly, confidently, unless you are disillusioned when your ideals are denied. You value honesty and can be quite broad-minded in terms of love. You probably get pleasure from ideals and ideas. Because you enjoy exploring and adventuring, and because you seek an ideal relationship, you may have trouble settling down to just one relationship. Your comfort and harmony require the freedom to roam and explore and always look for something better. Your handling of money and possessions is apt to be optimistic, perhaps rash, and could lead to getting overextended. You want the best in your love relationships, and you and your partner must agree on goals, values, and worldview. Philosophical harmony is essential. Venus Sagittarians begin love affairs with the spirit of adventure. You like to experience the excitement of love in the same way you search for diversion in the rest of your life. First attractions are always wildly romantic. As a Venus Sagittarian, you never seem to have commonplace or banal love affairs. However, you cannot sustain the emotion and therefore never completely sacrifice your freedom to another person. What you want is the unobtainable, perfect love. And even if you can find it, you would shrink from being possessed by it. You would shrink, yeah. With such contradictory attitudes, it's no wonder you leave your lovers terminally puzzled. Basically, Venus Sagittarians are high-spirited, outgoing, and wildly imaginative. You tend to attract powerful and influential friends and find it much easier to deal with friends than with lovers. For one thing, friendship is less demanding. Luck in creative affairs surrounds projects undertaken in foreign countries or far from home. Venus in Sag indicates people whose emotions and responses are idealistic and spiritually oriented. They are friendly, vivacious, sociable, and outgoing. Dane Rudyard, one of the greatest psychological astrologers, pointed out in The Pulses of Life that each sign of the zodiac is a reaction against the extremes of the sign that precedes it. Dusty talks about that a lot, Dusty White in his course. It's awesome that he did that. Yeah. Each sign of the zodiac is a reaction against the extremes of the sign that precedes it. This observation is especially true of Venus and Sagittarius, which is frankly outspoken about inner feelings, in contrast to Venus in the preceding sign of Scorpio, which is secretive and calculating. The soul-racking emotional intensity, the jealousy and possessiveness of Venus and Scorpio leaves a bitter taste in the evolutionary experience of the soul that has Venus and Sagittarius. Consequently, people with this position seek to base emotional conduct in personal relationships on a more objective, socially accepted principles founded on ethics, philosophy, and religion. Traditional moral structures make them feel more secure in their emotional conduct. They seek to be honest and open in their feelings and reactions to those they love or with whom they are romantically involved. People with this Venus placement will often try to convert their sweethearts or spouses to their own religious beliefs or moral principles in order to have a commonly agreed upon basis of conduct. They generally seek to marry within their own religious or philosophic milieu, but are not afraid of getting involved in unusual romantic relationships. All right. And the last one. This location of Venus refines the nature, making the native lighthearted, impressionable, intuitive, imaginative, prophetic, generous, and of loyal intentions. Fond of beauty, fine arts, traveling, voyaging, romance, animals, and all out-of-door sports and amusements. It inclines to charity, benevolence, and justice, to religion of a mystical or spiritual nature, to respect for literary, intellectual work, philosophies, philanthropy, and all lines leading to harmony and involving the high attributes of the mind. Money may be gained from two sources and through things signified by Sagittarius, like horses, shipping, traveling, sports. The love nature is susceptible and attracted to the opposite sex. This location inclines to more than one union and affection for a foreigner or one of a considerable distance. Gives many friends, some of good position and social standing. Friendship with partners, relatives, and friends among educators, scientists, ministers, and mariners. All right, our last three. Venus in Capricorn. Loyal beyond death. Deeply committed when they finally do. Provider, stable, caring. Unromantic, cold, distant, unfeeling, hates public displays of affection and parties. Bad at karaoke. Dedicated. You're basically insecure, and in order to compensate for this sense of inadequacy, you may seek status and material goods. Seemingly cold and calculating in your approach to marriage or partnerships, you try to protect yourself since you fear rejection. It's very difficult for you to show the tenderness you really feel. Proud and reserved in your public behavior, you may appear snobbish, yet you are successful. You often repress your emotions and sexuality, but deep inside you are very sensual, even lusty. Slow to develop romantic relationships, you may either choose an older or mature partner, or a much younger one for whom you feel responsible. Once someone manages to pierce your great shield of reserve, you are loyal and dedicated. With your leadership potential, you could do well in business. With challenging aspects, you may be too concerned with material achievements and emotionally too detached and cold. Okay, you are likely to enjoy being responsible, practical, and competent. You tend to relate seriously, formally, with some reserve. You express affection cautiously, soberly, and sometimes dutifully or perfunctorily. What a word. You find comfort in control and could sometimes inhibit pleasure or love needs due to fears, limitations, and inner doubts. You can get pleasure from achievement and status in the world. Your ambitions, status, and conservation may affect your love and social urges. Your handling of money, possessions is apt to be businesslike, pragmatic, and well organized. You want predictability and fidelity in your love relationships. You want to be sure before making a commitment in partnership, but are willing to work hard to make the relationship endure. Venus Capricorns are careful and cautious about love as about anything else. You may sometimes be thought of as cold and calculating because you believe in the dictate it's just as easy to fall in love with someone rich as it will be with someone poor. In fact, this was probably said originally by Capricorn Venus. However, it is far from telling the whole story. When in love, you are loyal, faithful, and dependable. If you don't marry rich, you work to give a mate security, and that includes material comforts. You may not be demonstrative and flowery, but what you say, you mean. There is a dichotomy between your emotional life and your sexuality. You have earthy passions, but you keep them separate from your mental attitude. You can be sexually involved and detached at the same time. Venus in this position indicates a personality that is jealous, possessive, and fearful of rejection. Once snubbed, Venus Capricorn reaction is complete coldness. Venus in Capricorn indicates those who need material status and wealth in order to achieve emotional security. Often they seek to improve their status by marrying above their station in life, with an attitude that one might as well fall in love with someone wealthy. In dating and courtships, they are attracted to those who will take them to expensive restaurants and prestigious places of an entertainment. Proud and reserved in their public behavior, they dislike overt public displays of emotion and affection, considering such conduct beneath them. Their dignified air can be based on their desire to feel superior to the common lot. Sometimes this is resented by others as snobbishness. Because of a Saturn rulership of Capricorn, people with this Venus position can repress their emotions and sexuality, as does Venus in Virgo, but they're capable of being very sensual and private. They attract sympathy through their quiet personal dignity and refinement. There is also a sense of aloneness about them, which generates a subtle mystique that appeals to others. People with this position of Venus, if they marry young, seek older, more mature partners. However, if they marry later, they chose younger mates with whom they can stabilize and provide with security in return for affection. Though not openly demonstrative, they are loyal and steadfast to those they love because they innately sense the personal responsibility in important relationships. And this location tends to uplift the native and place him in positions of trust, responsibility, and authority and profit, giving the favor of employers, superiors, and elders. It inclines to business, commerce, banking, investment, stocks, shares, executive positions, which bring contact with many, also to affairs connected with the earthly elements. It conduces to social and business popularity, friends of high standing with gain and advancement through them. The love nature is ambitious, diplomatic, and careful of honor. Marriage is usually for convenience or for social purpose. Wow. There is disappointment in love, domestic unhappiness, coldness or indifference on the part of the partner. If other testimonies in the chart agree, marriage is delayed for reasons arising out of age, parents, money, or occupation. Either the native or the partner is likely to be older, more serious, calculating, wealthy, or of a different position in life, or hold a different and maybe an indifferent attitude. All right, interesting. Venus in Aquarius. I did this one different just because it's Venus in Aquarius. I gave it the whole slide. Fun, friendly, lighthearted, rebellious, and entirely superficial. They need you to see this in them more than they need to know your individual needs. Unconventional in love, prefers open or at least open options in relationship. You're cool, calm, and collected. Friendly, popular, unselfish. You prefer liking many to loving one. You live by your own rules and regulations, regardless of how unacceptable these may be to society. Your romantic attractions are often sudden, but they're not always lasting. Your partner must be a friend as well as a lover, from whom you seek mental stimulation and plenty of variety. Not possessive yourself, you will shy away from anyone who might want to tie you down. You are intuitive and you function well with friends and in groups. You're interested in new art forms, legal reforms, and technical endeavors. With difficult aspects, you may be aloof, cold, stubborn, and may crave eccentric sexual experiences. Woo! Venus in Aquarius, you are likely to enjoy being unusual or different in some way. You tend to relate casually, erratically, or with openness and tolerance. You probably express affection experimentally, freely, or unconventionally. You can get pleasure from being unique. Your handling of money and possessions may be progressive, intellectual, unpredictable, changeable, or rebellious. You want freedom and friendship in your love relationships and not to be tied down. At times, you could seem too cool and aloof to others, and you can come across as impersonal and detached. You may enjoy stimulating intellectual exchanges with a partner. You prefer something or someone a bit outside of the usual in love relationships. Venus in Aquarius promotes a kind and loving nature. You are helpful, charitable, and giving, but you are not an emotional person. You have an intellectual, detached attitude toward love. To you, personal freedom is most important, and any relationship must leave you free to explore varied interests and hobbies, meet new people, and enjoy a wide range of friends. You cannot tolerate jealousy and will walk away from emotional scenes. You believe in fairness and openness. As a Venus Aquarian, you are most likely to have platonic friendships because sexual involvements are more emotionally binding than you like. You're immensely popular and can attract a great many lovers. Often, however, you choose to direct your personal magnetism towards larger concerns and more enduring varieties than mere romance. Aquarius is the sign of hopes and wishes, and Venus in the sign usually grants you what you dream of. Venus in the sign Aquarius is reacting against the materialism and cold property of Venus in Capricorn. It indicates an impersonal but friendly emotional outlook. The natives want to be friendly with everyone, but not necessarily on a personal basis. They're popular and well-liked, and they generally have many friends. There is a sparkling, effervescent, unusual quality in their personal manner. The attitudes of these people towards social and sexual morality may be unusual, departing from the standard rules laid down by society. It is not that they are devoid of principles, rather they have their own interpretation of what is just and meaningful. As with Venus in Gemini and in Libra, they find crude behavior unattractive, although they themselves do not always observe traditional concepts of social behavior. Romantic attractions are often sudden and casual, not necessarily stable or lasting. The individual finds intellectual stimulation important in romance and marriage and is attracted to ingenious or eccentric types, as well as to those who will help him expand his social outlets. The romantic partner or spouse must be a friend as well as a lover and must understand that he requires variety and mental stimulation and dislikes boring routine. These people also dislike jealousy, possessiveness, and will shy away from romantic partners who seek to curtail their social freedom. Therefore, if one wants to remain close to Venus and Aquarius people, it is necessary to allow them freedom in their relationships with others. Okay. Last one. And then the last one. Venus and the location of Venus gives fondness for pleasure and social life. The native makes friends easily and readily forms acquaintances with strangers, friends among inferiors, and also those of wealth and refinement. The nature is intuitive, philosophical, generous, reserved in opinions, and sincere in convictions, liking and ability for fine arts and all cultured and intellectual pursuits, fond of romance and pleasure, friends among the opposite sex, faithful and earnest in affection, secret alliances, remarkable or strange, sudden, unexpected experiences or events in love. Indicates gain financially through friends, societies, public enterprises. All right, and last but not least, Venus in Pisces. I put that in Pepe Le Pew. He said, "Let me, I love you. I want you, I'm possessing you." Venus in Pisces. Fey, dreamy, elfin, or romantic. Adores public displays of romance. Hates disagreements, especially in public. Seeks harmony and peace in their immediate environment at all times. Can be subversive to the point of martyristic behavior in social interactions. Right. It's exalted in Pisces also. You are gentle, compassionate, helpful, and tenderhearted. Very understanding of others. You can be quite spiritual. You are romantic and sensitive. You need love and tenderness, and without love, you feel lost. Your intuition is highly developed, and you relate well to art, poetry, nature, and animals. You are creative and can inspire creativity in others. However, your extreme sensitivity can leave you wide open to hurt. Knowing this, you often suffer in silence, and you may become very reticent. Self-sacrificing, you are attracted to the underdog. With difficult aspects, you become too emotionally dependent on others, or you may force others to depend on you. You may be sentimental, hypersensitive, indiscriminating, and unrealistic. Alrighty. Venus in Pisces, you are likely to enjoy being compassionate, tenderhearted, and helpful. You could relate to people by taking the role of either a rescuer or a person looking for help. You may express affection idealistically, romantically, and sympathetically, or evasively. You have a deep desire for magic and romance and love. A lack of clarity about what you want or a failure to be objective in your observation of others can set you up for disappointment, deception, or disillusionment. You find it easy to idealize love and loved ones. A lack of discrimination could lead to frustrating attachments. You want a beautiful dream in your love relationships. You yearn for a soulmate, and you may be psychically attuned to a partner. You can also receive much pleasure from art, nature, and inspirational matters. Your handling of money and possessions may be idealistic, dreamy, or escapist. All right, Venus in Pisces. As a Venus Piscean, you are inclined to have tender emotions and a deep capacity for devotion. In love, you are gentle, kind-hearted, extremely sensitive, and fickle. It's not that you mean to be inconsistent. It is a mutable sign, remember. It's simply that being in love is such a wonderful feeling, and being loved makes you feel complete. You have an unfortunate penchant for choosing the wrong kind of lover. I thought this picture is perfect. The kind who will take emotionally but not give back. Venus Pisceans often have a secret love affair that causes them grief. You are completely intuitive about love, never logical. No other position of Venus can be as self-sacrificing or places more importance on the happiness of loved ones. You have true empathy for the problems of another person. Venus also indicates an imaginative and creative artistic flair, which helps you put your feelings into writing, acting, or music. Venus Pisceans are so generous that money slips right through their little fingers. Venus in Pisces it's a sign of its exaltation. Here, the love principle reaches its highest evolutionary development. The natives marry for love, no other considerations being of any consequence. Venus in this sign manifests deep compassion and sympathy, verging on spirituality, the understanding of and the unity with all life. The universality of Venus in Aquarius, combined with the empathy and emotional depth of Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, produces an emotional rapport with the life of all creatures in the universe. The individual sees the eternal life principle flowing through all manifestation, uniting the soul with all life. These people have a high capacity to understand the feelings of others. They know what it is like to be in another's shoes. The experience of having been through all the signs of the zodiac gives the soul the ability to identify with all types of humanity. People with this position of Venus are romantic and sensitive. Unless they receive clear demonstrations of love and affection from others, they feel lonely and disappointed. Sometimes the disappointment leads to feelings of martyrdom, which may be sublimated into religious expressions, or it may lead to neurotic tendencies or mental illness. Is that it? Because the natives are highly sensitive to the suffering of others, people may take advantage of their sympathies unless their discrimination is well developed. Their extreme emotional sensitivity means they are often afraid of being hurt through rejection. Thus, they hesitate to express their feelings, suffering the pangs of love in silence. Sometimes they miss romantic opportunities. They are inclined to become emotionally dependent on others, or have others become emotionally dependent on them. If Venus is afflicted in Pisces, it can be excessive sentimentality, lack of discrimination in choosing love objects, laziness, hypersensitivity, and overdependence on others. Strong emotions can stand in the way of objective perception of reality. And the last one from Little Wellian here. I get it, I'm out of order. Anyway, Venus in Pisces bestows a nature that is charitable, philanthropic, easily motivated to sympathy, inclined to relieve suffering and to assist the weak or afflicted. Interests in work connected with institutions. The native is compassionate, sensitive, psychic, mediumistic, emotional, idealistic, and inspirational. Fond of all things beautiful, poetry, music, painting, and fine arts. Cheerful, genial, hospitable, fond of society and friendly intercourse. Desirous of peace, ease, comfort, and luxury, at times indolent. Money is gained through friends, charity, gifts, Venusian occupations, or through obscure, subordinate, or plebeian pursuit. There is apt to be more than one marriage, and the native may be careless or fickle in matters of affection. Attraction to an inferior secret alliance. If Venus is much afflicted here, the native may have a hard time gaining money, or if he possesses it, will lose heavily through fraud, deception, and unscrupulous methods, and maybe by his own action. Difficulty, detriment, and loss through intrigue, obstacles, delays, and trouble in marriage. Well, we can count on George Wellian to kind of end it on a sour note. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a lot. And I hope, that you go back through this, you can maybe go scroll to the one you want to hear again and take in some of that a little bit more. But I thought it was really intriguing for me to research this for you and look across at, all these different perspectives. There's so many, you can hopefully feel the overflow of the tone, but there's definitely all the little bends. So I hope that helps. And I am going to go for today. Thank you for being here, and we'll pick it up next time. Talk to you then. Bye for now.